Hey guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I have learned as I have grown into the person that I am today. And today I brought with me both of the Melody Beatty books. I have them both opened to the meditation for the day, and I have not read them, so I'm very excited about this. They're kind of very oppositional meditations. One of them is very serious, and the other one is very lighthearted. So I think that I'm going to go... I think that I'm going to go with the one that's a little bit more serious today, because I'm feeling like I want to have a serious, in-depth conversation. So let's read about difficult people. December 5th, difficult people. Few things can make us feel crazier than expecting something from someone who has nothing to give. Few things can frustrate us more than trying to make a person someone he or she isn't. We feel crazy when we try to pretend that person is someone he or she is not. We may have spent years negotiating with reality concerning particular people from our past and our present. We may have spent years trying to get someone to love us in a certain way when that person cannot or will not. It is time to let it go. It is time to let him or her go. That doesn't mean we can't love that person anymore. It means that we will feel the immense relief that comes when we stop denying reality and begin accepting. We release that person to be who he or she actually is. We stop trying to make that person be someone he or she is not. We deal with our feelings and walk away from the destructive system. We learn to love and care differently in a way that takes reality into account. We enter into a relationship with that person on new terms, taking ourselves and our needs into account. If a person is addicted to alcohol, other drugs, misery, or other people, we let go of his or her addiction. We take our hands off it. We give his or her life back, and we, in the process, are given our life and freedom in return. We stop letting what we are not getting from that person control us. We take responsibility for our life. We take responsibility for our life. We go ahead with the process of loving and taking care of ourselves. We decide how we want to interact with that person, taking reality and our own best interests into account. We get angry, we feel hurt, but we land in a place of forgiveness. We set him or her free, and we become set free from bondage. This is the heart of detaching in love. Today, I will work at detaching in love from troublesome people in my life. I will strive to accept reality in my relationships. I will give myself permission to take care of myself in my relationships with emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual freedom for both people as my goal. Wow. Wow. So this is probably, for me, one of the great, I'm trying to think of all the lessons I've learned. Probably one of the greatest lessons I've ever learned in my life, is to detach with love. And I think it's kind of such a catchphrase saying at this point. So let me really break it down for you. It's really learning to not have high expectations for people is what it is, And I think it's fair, I will say, one of the things I have learned in this world, I think it's fair to have expectations for people. I think it's fair that we have expectations that our spouses or our parents will love us in a certain way, right? I think that those are realistic expectations. That doesn't mean that it's going to happen the way that we want it to happen. And I think that there are so many people out there that are unable and incapable of, meeting our expectations for what we have them. I remember years and years ago, I had somebody in my life, and that I just was in a relationship with, and I just really struggled, And it was like, I can remember getting in my best friend Tanya Jean's car, and I would just bawl my eyes out, and I would just say, how low do my expectations have to go? And I remember one night, we would get in the car and drive around, and every night, she would listen to me cry and moan about, I just, I don't understand why I'm being treated this way. I don't understand, I don't understand. I deserve better, or whatever, right? Which I did. And I can remember crying one night, and I said to her, She said, you have to continue to lower your expectations for this person. And I said, like, I kind of screamed out. I was like, how low do I have to lower my expectations? And I remember she reached over and she put her hand on my leg and she said, until you don't have any anymore. And it was until that moment. And then it was weird because something changed in me. And for some reason, I remembered this thing that I had seen on Oprah. And I was able to start not having expectations for this person in my life. Now, sadly, I will tell you what happens to me, okay, when I stop having expectations for people, because I do believe that the people that are in my life, like my husband, like my best friend, like my dad and my stepmother, like my cousin, I do believe that I should be able to have expectations for them and that they should be able to have expectations for me as well, for, how we treat each other and that we treat each other with respect and love and compassion and kindness, right? So what happens to me is when I have somebody in my life that I continue to lower my expectations for and lower my expectations, and really what I'm doing is I'm lowering my expectations for them so that they can stay in my life, right? Why? I don't know why. Why I would continue to lower my expectations for somebody that really doesn't belong in my life anyway, because they're not bringing anything to the table. But what ends up happening is that, this is the detach with love part, is that I start having an emotional detachment from them, which means I really have no emotional attachment to them anymore whatsoever. It's like, what do they say, the opposite of indifference, or the opposite of hate or love is indifference. It's like that. It's like I don't really love or hate them. I just feel really indifferent about them after a certain point. When I've lowered my expectations to a certain point and I've really processed it, it's like I'm rather indifferent about it, which is really sad, because when I'm to a point where I'm indifferent with people in my life, they're typically not in my life anymore, because I have people in my life that I have feelings for, Today, at 50 years old, I would rather have a very few amount of people in my life than have to deal with a lot of people that bring chaos and toxicity. And I don't want that, I don't want to have to work so hard at having these relationships in my life where I'm like crying in a car over like, how low do I have to lower my expectations? I don't want to do that. That should have been a red flag for me. That was not a relationship that was healthy for me. That should have been a huge red flag for me. And Tanya has been somebody that has been so awesome in my life to allow me to learn my own lessons. So what did I learn on this Oprah so many years ago that I watched? Saw it 25 years ago and it took me 25 years to learn. Is that, and it was one of her aha moments, and you can find it on YouTube. I think she's got it on YouTube somewhere, but it's when she's talking to this guy and she's talking about lowering our expectations, and he says it's when we expect gallon-sized love from pint-sized people. And he said, so much of our lives, we seek out people and we want gallon-sized love from them, but they only have pint-sized love to give. And it was like, for her and for myself, it was such an aha moment, because I thought, oh my God, that's so true. Like I have interacted in my life with so many people that are selfish or self-serving, or I'm not like, for whatever reason, I am not as high on their radar as they are on mine. And why am I continuing to do this? Why am I allowing people to be in my life that are only giving me pint-sized love, when I want gallon-sized love? I deserve gallon-sized love. You deserve gallon-sized love. You should have gallon-sized love in your life. You should have people that will give that to you, So it's interesting to me in reading this meditation, both. It's interesting to me reading this meditation and it talking about these being difficult people. I don't know that I necessarily call them difficult people. I think they are. I think they bring difficulty to our lives. I think it's really, really hard when you love somebody so much. And I think that when you realize, okay, like it says in here at the beginning, few things can make us feel crazier than expecting something from someone who has nothing to give. Have you ever been in that? It's funny because like I follow like all these like spiritual things on Instagram, and one came up the other day and it was like, call him 3 days in a row, text him 3 days in a row. If he doesn't show up or doesn't call or whatever, like get him out of your life. It's not a very spiritual profile, but it's true. It's like, we hang around, you know, like another Oprah. I can remember when she was talking about how she was dating this guy, and she said like she wouldn't take a bath, she wouldn't do anything, go out with her friends because she was so waiting for him to call. Like she would do anything just to wait and see if he would call, you know? And it's like, how much of our lives have we lost out on, or how much of ourselves have we given away with expecting things from people that really don't have it to give to us, you know? I know when it comes to family, it's really difficult. It's really difficult to set boundaries and limits for family. You know, and thankfully my family is so small and I really haven't had to do this in my life. But there have been times with my mom when she just didn't really have it to give, you know. One of the things that my sponsor has had me do in the last couple years with people is the prayer for the sick person, the sick man. And you can Google the prayer for the sick man. And basically what it is praying for the person that doesn't know any different. Praying for the person that, like, they can't help it because they don't know any different. But that doesn't mean that I need to be affected by that. That doesn't mean that I can have compassion, I can have kindness for that person, but I don't have to continue to have them in my life. I don't have to continue to be affected by it on a daily basis, you know? If you have a difficult person in your life that you're asking yourself on a daily basis, why am I, like, why am I not getting what I need? Why am I, you know, like, why am I giving them all of my love and all this kind of stuff and I'm getting nothing in return? For me personally, and I'm not telling anybody else what to do, you have to make your own choices and decisions. But for me, in retrospect, I don't know that that was me so much needing to lower my expectations. So lowering the expectations, I think, was the action to getting me to the point of detachment. But I think what that really was, the why question, was me seeing a red flag for maybe ridding myself of having people in my life that didn't really need to be there, you know? I think when you start looking at life in a different way and you realize that, like, you know, one of the things I always say is that it was such a privilege that I was able to be part of my mom's life, you know, and I was able to be part of her death and be by her side and all of that. When you look at life in that way and you look at your life in that way, what you realize is the people that you allow in, that's a privilege. It's a privilege to the people that are in your life that they are sitting there. And it's a privilege for the people that allow you in their life that you're there as well. And we shouldn't take that lightly, you know, and we definitely shouldn't be spinning our wheels and spending our time with people that don't care if we're there or not. At least that's how I feel. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.